Well, we are back, bigger and better than ever before. The boys and the crew at Palmerbet, I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest, but they've given us another contract, Gigs, and she is game on. And I say a very, very good evening to Kirk Gidley. Gids, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, great, Matty. G'day, everyone. Mate, great to be back for season 2, Matty. Huge preview, mate. We've got to get through tonight. Another team in the comp, mate, this year. Plenty of off-season signings. So, yeah, mate, plenty to talk about with our notes here, mate, tonight. But certainly excited about the season ahead. It's been great to watch some footy, mates, back on TV. Even though the trial games, great to see some footy back on the box.
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. And of course, in a week's time, it is going to be on. The NRL season is going to kick off. You just touched on it, Gids. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course. But the Dolphins, the new team into the competition, and it's fair to say, I reckon, Gids probably didn't sign the recruits. And I think, all the beat up and that we were kind of hearing, they just didn't get anyone in the end, did they?
No, they didn't, mate. They had plenty of scalps they had a crack at, but they just couldn't nail one. Kalen Ponga, they were looking to sign at one stage. Cameron Munster. So they had plenty of cash to spend for their first season. But unfortunately, mate, they couldn't get anyone for this year. I know they'll be certainly pursuing a marquee signing for 2024. But, mate, I think they're very, very skinny, mate, what they've got for this season. And
any
they just weren't.
The rumor, mate, that you've been hitting the gym pretty hard, just looking to probably, bust your way back into the Dolphins outfit.
Actually, mate, I've just hurt my neck just sort of doing that. So yeah, mate, I was thinking about giving the old coach Wayne Bennett a call and just seeing if I could just, just ready to sign up, just a $500,000 contract for 1 year. But
that'd be nice.
I don't think the body's up for it, mate. I actually played a quick game of beach footy there the other week against some former teammates and alongside some former teammates. And, mate, I pulled up horrendously from it.
Mate, let's be honest. You're getting $500,000 just doing this Palmerbet show. Don't argue.
Mate, I don't need the contact sport anymore.
Hey, let's have a look, and we want to have a look at some of the key markets. And the team at Palmerbet put a fair bit into these kids. They've been really working intently in the off season, and obviously the 2023 Premiership market. This is the one we want to have a look at first. Panthers are our favourites. They're looking to go back to back. They're at $3.80. The Roosters. Big recruiting in the off-season, $5.50. The Storm, $7.50. They bowed out first week of the finals last year. The Cowboys, sensational season last year at $10. South Sydney Rabbitohs, $10. Cronulla Sharks, the big improvers last year at $10. Eels, $13. Broncos, $18. Sea Eagles, $18. Raiders, $23, along with the Bulldogs. And then it's right your own ticket, the rest, Gids. What's your thoughts on those early markets, all thanks to Palmerbet?
Well, mate, there's definitely some value there around the Cowboys, who had a cracking year. I mean, they got off to a bit of a slow start, but geez, they were one of the most consistent performers throughout the season, I believe. So there's definitely some good value there.
Hard to beat up there, aren't they?
Oh, man, really tough to beat up there. I mean, cracking new stadium, that's for sure, up at North Queensland. So, certainly a pleasure for the players and the fans to roll into every home game. But, mate, they believed in the coach. They believed in their game plan. And as I say, they played some of the most consistent footy of any team for a vast majority of the season. So there's some good odds there. And, mate, I was always a big fan of the Sharks last year. Craig Fitzgibbon's first year as NRL coach. They've already extended him out. They've already extended his contract beyond the next couple of years. So, and I know, mate, he spoke very honestly in his press conference when they did get knocked out that it wasn't good enough, and the way they bowed out was disappointing defensively, and that he was disappointed that they didn't go further into the final. So I think that would have spurred him on to have some pretty deep thinking over the off season. And Matt, I think again, I was just seeing a comment from one of the players at the moment that they admire how he gets in the trenches with them and still works extremely hard from a physical point of view. That Fitzy, doesn't ask the players to do anything that he's not prepared to do himself.
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. That is a sensational year. Now, listen, you're putting the slows on my Melbourne Storm, mate. You don't like us. Let's be honest, kids. You're not a massive Storm fan, are you, mate?
Nah, mate. You know what? I love Belly, one of my favourite coaches in my career. But I just, mate, dare we
don't write us off,
we
mate.
Dare we doubt the Melbourne Storm, mate? Because there's been plenty of people who have over the era that Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater have retired, and they've still been able to produce. So they've lost some key players this off season. There's no doubt about that. But whether they can continue on the path that they have over the past 20 years, mate, I've got a couple of question marks on.
Yeah, I know. You got a few question marks. And the other team that you're really keen on in that premiership market, kid, you're super keen on the Roosters, mate. Really recruited well in the off season.
Yeah. I think I just looked at the predicted team list for round one if everyone's fit, and like it's an amazing lineup, and we know how well the Roosters recruit their players, mate. All under the salary cap, of course. So how they continue to sign the amazing players they do. Well, you know what? I'm sure Trent Robinson, a lot of the players want to go there and play under Robbo. But certainly, the lifestyle and the culture that they've got there is pretty strong. But mate, it's an amazing lineup. Those players, a lot of them rep players from New South Wales, Queensland, and Australia. So I think it's a pretty red hot team the Roosters are fielding this year.
Now, listen, which way are you going then? Premiership betting early days, mate. Just lead us into something, all thanks to Palmer Bet.
For premiership, take out the premiership, mate.
Yeah. What do you reckon? Where's the value in that market?
You know what? I think it was an amazing effort what the Panthers as a club did last year. First grade, reserve grade, jersey flag, and SG ball. That's a sensational effort, and obviously is going to set them up for the future. And their pathways look amazing. But I think with the Roosters and the team that they look like they're going to field, big part of that's going to trying to keep them on the park each week, fit and healthy. But I think they're going to be the biggest challenger for the Panthers this year.
Right,
so I'm going to go Roosters as a bit of an upset, mate, to the Panthers over the last few years.
$5.50. Nice odds, that is for sure. What about to make the top eight? All thanks to Palmer Bet. Panthers $1.08, Roosters $1.17, the Storm $1.22, Cowboys $1.40, Souths $1.40, Sharks $1.45, Eels $1.72, Broncos $1.75, Raiders $1.91. There's a little bit of value there, I reckon, Gids, with a few teams if you want to whack them together in a little multi and multi a few together.
Yeah, mate, throw a few outside. I mean, I was impressed by the Raiders last year. Like they were written off there at one stage, mate. Only a month or so outside of the top the semi-finals. So I admired their effort to get into the semis, and I thought they competed too when they were there.
He's just a passionate man, Ricky Stewart, isn't he?
Man, he's great. I think he goes into bat for his players when he needs. He holds them accountable in his press conferences when he needs, and he has a crack at the officials, mate, when it's required as well. So, yeah, he wears his heart on the sleeve, and he's a great, passionate leader and mentor for the players, no doubt. Mate, I actually think, Matty, as a bit of a smoky here, some of the signings that the West Tigers have made this year, mate, and obviously the transition with Tim Sheens and Benji Marshall there as coaches. I know Sheens is head coach, but I think they've made some great signings.
$3.50, mate. That is good value.
Some great value there. And I just know Api Coruscant has been announced as captain. All the players have selected him as captain. A bit of an old school way to do it, or different method that the player Sheensy got the players to vote on it. Papali'i is gone from Parramatta to the Tigers, and Dave Clemmer obviously from the Knights to the Tigers. So. And David Nofaluma, mate, off loan from Melbourne, back to the Tigers again. So he's a try scorer. So, mate, I think there's some good confidence building there at the Tigers.
Well, they might be the value at $3.50. What about the least wins, mate? The new team into the competition. The Acid's going to be on Wayne Bennett and the boys, isn't it, Gids? The Dolphins are at $2.40 to get the least wins. You can't be happy about this, the team at Palmer, mate. They got the Knights at $5.50, equal second.
That can't be right. That's got to be a misprint.
Mate, when I first saw it, I thought, do they realise that you're doing
outrageous?
Yeah, kids, they understand.
We've moved Kalen Ponga to 5'8" this year. That's going to solve all our problems. Haven't you heard that?
The big magic move, mate.
Yeah, mate. No, that's okay, mate. We'll fly under the radar, Matty. That's good, man. I like those type of odds because the expectation's pretty low from the outside there, but that's okay for the Knights' point of view. But mate, they've got a bit to work on. There's no doubt about that. We underachieved last year. The boys did, but bit to work on. That's for sure.
Now, listen, the Dolphins are the obvious choice here. And you look at $2.40. To be honest, I'd probably see that at not bad value if you want to multi it into something.
Mate.
You're going to get
That's exactly the word I wrote next to Dolphins value, mate. $2.40. Like,
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I don't think the history tells us that the first team or another team into the competition in their first year is going to have a great deal of success. So, mate, $2.40 if that's mate, if that's a horse, a favourite mate in a race of yours, then you're jumping all over that, aren't you?
Absolutely, and as I say, you multi it into something else. Like you multi it into the West Tigers. You got about $8 or $9 just to make
some great value.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they go, mate. Like, obviously, at the hands of Wayne, he's set up the Broncos from scratch there previously, so he knows what's got to be done. But I just think they haven't been able to recruit the calibre of players they were after, and it's going to take a bit of time for them.
Now, Gids, let's move along now, and let's have a look from a Palmer bet perspective, okay, on the ins and outs of each and every team. We're going to go through every single team and have a look who they've recruited, some of the stats, the key stats for the team heading into the 2023 season, mate. So the Brisbane Broncos finished the regular season in 9th. They really punched late last season, Gids. How quick will the pressure rise this year on Kevy Walters? That's the big question. It was a pretty dramatic season at the Broncos last year, and it ended pretty dramatically as well. The new signings of Reece Walsh, of course. He comes across from the New Zealand Warriors. Key losses, Brenko Lee goes to the Dolphins. Tamara Martin goes to the Warriors. They're $18, all thanks to Palmer Bet Premiership odds. To make the finals, $1.75. To miss the finals, $1.95. And, the favourite bet to miss the top 8, they're at $1.95. Gids, what's your thoughts on the Brisbane Broncos 2023 season?
Well, mate, the $1.95 to miss the top 8, mate, I'm on that because I just think they went down a pretty slippery slope, mate. Last year they had some pretty consistent footy through that middle part of the year, but the wheels literally
good, yeah,
mate. The wheels literally fell off there, and there was some lack of direction. There was some lack of belief, and they weren't able to find some resilience, mate, and turn things around because they were fighting for top 4 there at one stage, and mate, they ended up didn't make the 8. So I still think they're going to be pretty heavily under pressure to start the year. And one of the comments made on a podcast in the off season where one of the players didn't back Kevy as a good coach, or just those type of things.
Awkward.
It's awkward, man. It's not hold those opinions to yourself as a player, not on podcasts. So I think there's a bit of doubt around whether Kevy's the right coach there, or
remember, Gids, we're actually on a podcast ourselves now, mate. This is like a podcast.
Yeah,
we're one of those people, mate.
But, mate, you know what? I'm not a player. I'm not playing.
Right. Yeah, spot on, mate. You got to be positive, I think, don't you, mate? Especially when you're talking about your coach and your club.
Mate, 100%. You got to be optimistic about. It doesn't matter who you coach or who your team is. You should always go into a season and talk optimistically and communicate positively about your club and your teammates. So, yeah, it's an error from a younger guy, and I'm sure he'll learn from that. But mate, I think they'll miss the 8. That's my honest opinion.
That's your bet. So they are at $1.95, all thanks to Palmer Bet. That's Gids' selection to miss the top 8. Let's move along to the Canberra Raiders. I love what they did. They finished the regular season 8th, knocked out in week 2 of the finals. Their back half of the year was enormous. Can they start their run a little bit earlier this year? Gidsy, what's your thoughts on that, buddy?
Oh, mate, yeah, I think they can, Matty. I think consistency will be the one that Sticky's trying to instill into the players this year. So Pasami Solo's signing from the Knights. They've lost, mate. Josh Hodgson's a pretty big loss for him. I thought he's been great for him over the last few years. Tough hooker, and pretty crafty out of dummy half, and looks like he's got the smarts of what he needs to do at hooker. So I think he's a fair loss for him. Nickel Clockstead as well. He's a talented player, outside back, and will be a loss. But I still looked at their team list and think they've still got a pretty strong forward pack.
Yep.
Jack White in the team. I love the way he plays, Jack, but certainly needs to remain on the field. Jamal Fogarty as well. I liked him as a half on 5'8" with Jack White, and so I still think they're going to be around the top 8, mate, because I like their tenacity last year. I thought they fought throughout the year, and they deserve to get there at the end.
Yeah, no, their back half of the year was absolutely magnificent. So they're $23 to win the flag, to make the finals $1.91, to miss the finals $1.80. Which way you going? What's your bet here, Gids?
Mate, I've got them. I've got them eighth. I've got them scraping in again.
Yep, to
And
make
again,
the
I
eight, so
just
$2.10. That's good value, mate.
yep, $2.10. So yep, I've got them in my top eight, mate.
Righto. So that is one team in the top eight. Let's move along to the Canterbury Bulldogs. Fair to say, Gids, pretty average season for Bulldogs fans last year. Finished the regular season in 12th. Got a new coach, new look. Will the Bulldogs break their finals drought? Will they get back in the mix this year? Their new signings are Viliami Kikau from the Panthers, Reid Marnie from the Parramatta Eels. They lose Jeremy Marshall-King to the Dolphins and Josh Jackson, who's retired. Premiership odds at $23. To make the finals at $2.10. To miss the finals $1.67. What are your thoughts on the Canterbury Bulldogs, Gids?
A little bit of uncertainty, also a little bit of excitement. I played alongside Cameron Ciraldo there for a little bit at the Newcastle Knights, and I know that he's certainly done a great apprenticeship at Penrith under Ivan Cleary. He won I think a Jersey Flegg competition as well as coach through reserve grade. I know Gus has been a big fan of Cameron Ciraldo, so yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for Cameron. Viliamo Kikau obviously believes in him. That's why he's signed there. Reid Marnie's a great signing from the Eels, tough hooker, and I think he's got the belief of the players. I really think Ciro's got the belief of the playing group. Pangai Junior as well. So, mate, I think I'm not sure if they can get to the top 8 this year, but I think they're going to certainly make some improvements again.
What's your bet here, Gids, for the Bulldogs?
Mate, I like Josh Addo-Carr's try-scoring ability. Of course, he's come off the back of an amazing World Cup. So,
last year,
mate, top try scorer, $7 he is.
Absolutely loved it, mate. Absolutely loved it. Let's move along to the Cronulla Sharks, buddy. And what a year they had last year. You tipped these two at the start. They finished the regular season second, knocked out in the second week of the finals. Can the Sharks learn from what happened in 2022, or do you think they might just slip back a little bit, Gids?
No, mate, I think they're going to be full steam ahead. I think last year they certainly grew plenty of belief, mate, in the club. Fitzy was obviously great for what the players required at that stage, and I knew, well, I believed that he would have some great success, Fitzy, and as I say, the club's already re-signed him, extended his deal out again, so I still think they're in for another great year under Craig Fitzgibbon.
And they pick up Kafusi too, mate, from the Eels. So quality play coming. They do lose Fafita and Aiden Tolman, both retired. Premiership odds are $13 to make the finals $1.45 and to miss the finals $2.60. So, yeah, Kafusi's a good to include.
There are a couple of fair losses. Like Fafita was still a real handful like last year. Obviously, his body was at its end. And mate, Aiden Tolman, I just know how valuable he's been for all these teams that he's played in, mate, because he's just rock solid. Great leadership, great talker, drives really good high standards. So, I'm sure there's other players in the Sharks team that'll carry that type of leadership. But there are a couple of fair losses, but I still think they can be top 4, mate, this year.
Yeah, right.
So, mate, $2.90 top 4.
That is a great value bet, to be honest. You were keen on these guys last year, and you're backing and you're doubling down again this year. So you reckon that Cronulla Sharks will make the top 4 at $2.90 at Palmerbet. Let's move along to the new team, the new franchise, the Dolphins. Wayne Bennett, can he weave his magic at the Dolphins, and start this team in their debut season? It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch for mine. New signings, Ewan Aiken from the Warriors, Jesse Bromwich, of course, from the Storm, Kenny Bromwich from the Storm. Premiership odds at $61. It's virtually write your own ticket. To make the finals at $7, kids. To miss the finals $1.10. Least wins, as we touched on early too, was probably the bet at $2.40. What's your take here, kids, on the Dolphins? What are you expecting, mate? How many wins do you reckon they might get out of the year?
Oh, Matty, I haven't thought about how many wins. I do think.
What's a pass mark? Like 4 wins? Is that a pass mark for you?
Uh, if I'm on the outside looking at them, yeah, probably 4 wins is probably a good effort, to be honest. Because again, I'm just looking at their team list, that a predicted team list that they're going to put on the park. And mate, the Bromwich brothers it's a couple of great signings, and they will need to carry the standards that they've had at Melbourne into a new club. If those guys don't carry the same standards, the same work ethic that Craig Bellamy had those guys living and breathing week in, week out, day in, day out down there, then I think they'll struggle. But I just, looking at the team list, there's some inexperienced guys there, and I do think they'll struggle, which is probably fair enough. It's their first year in the competition. It's going to take some time for players' cohesion, and it's going to take time and some outside belief for players to sign there.
Yeah.
So I think they'll struggle.
An overnight thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. So you're betting here, mate. You're going with at least wins at $2.40.
Yep. I know that's probably a harsh bet, but I think it's reality.
Yep. No, good call, mate. Stick with it. I love it. Hey, Gold Coast Titans, really disappointing last year for mine. Finished the regular season in 13th place. Probably the storyline's going to be, can Justin Holbrook keep his gig in 2023? Going to be a lot of pressure there. New signings, Kieran Foran from the Manly Seagulls and Sam Verrills from the Roosters. They do lose Jared Wallace to the Dolphins, and Jermaine Asako also goes across to the Dolphins. $46 for the flag. To make the finals, $4. To miss the finals, $1.22. It's a little bit of D-Day, I reckon, for mine for the Titans. They need to kind of really dig deep, don't they, for their coach and for the club.
Mate, I think we did speak about the Titans and the Knights as two teams that were disappointing and didn't live up to the standards of or the expectations of what they had on themselves. All the outsiders had and their fans had on. Both teams made the top 8 the previous year and certainly went backwards. So, yeah, I do like Justin Holbrook as one of the younger coaches in the game. He's had some great success over in the Super League. His first year at the Gold Coast, he had some success, but unfortunately, they struggled last year with just playing consistently and defensively. They were just defensively poor, and their average points scored against was not up to the standards. I'm sure that they were after, but I do think Kieran Foran, mate, will be great for him. He was still playing some great footy at the Eagles there last year, and I think he'll, mate, again, he has some pretty great standards that he likes to live up to, I'm sure, and he holds himself accountable and his teammates. So I think he'll be really good for him.
Yeah, beautifully done, mate. Your best or your bet there is least wins, $13. So you can't do that, mate.
No. I still think I still think they will struggle to make the finals. It's it's just I just can't see them get
straight out miss the finals at $1.22.
Yep.
Very cool. No, love it, mate. Hey, let's move along to the Manly Sea Eagles, big fella. Finished the regular season in 11th. Really slow start to the year. Key storyline here. Can Anthony Seibold do the same at Manly as he did at South? And can Tommy Turbo stay healthy in 2023? He's the key, Gids. New signings, Kelma Talagi from the West Tigers. They do lose Kieran Foran to the Titans, I should say. Dylan Walker goes to the Warriors, and Martin Tupou goes to the Broncos. Premiership $18. Make the finals $2.30. Miss the finals $1.62. What do you reckon? Tell us about the Sea Eagles, Gids.
Matty, well, I had the pleasure of meeting Anthony Seibold through a mate of mine when he was in the England rugby team.
Yep.
So they were at Coogee Bay, man. I was impressed by him. I sat in on a couple of the team meetings there, and mate, I think he would have learned a lot from the really tough experience there at the Broncos. Obviously, mate, it was his choice to leave South and go to the Broncos, but it ended horrendously, and some pretty poor things that happened around accusations around his family, so it's never nice to see. I hope he does well. I think I believe he's a good coach that probably deserves his spot in the game. But as you know, mate, a couple of losses into the season, and he'll be under the pump from the media. They'll be putting plenty of pressure on him. But mate, it all comes down to Turbo, doesn't it? If he's on the field, they're a much more chance of winning. So how.
If they can get 18 games out of him, mate, it's going to go a long way, isn't it? Realistically.
Yeah. Mate, I played through the era when Joey was on the field and when he wasn't. So, Tommy has as great as influence as what Joey did, in our team here in Newcastle. And when he's not there, the odds don't look too flash.
What's your bet here, mate?
Make the finals. $2.30 to make the finals. I'm still not sure if that's if you're going to get a return on that one. So, mate, I think they're still going to miss the finals. Ruben Garrick, I am a big fan of him. I know Newcastle looked at signing him during the off season, but couldn't quite get him. He's a great point scorer, great finisher, great goal kicker. Mate, he's $8. Top point scorer.
Top point scorer. What a good bet. That is value personified.
Might be worth having a little lash at, mate.
Something for the Battlers, big fella. Here's the Melbourne Storm, mate. Finished the regular season 5th. They just punched it a little bit late with injuries to key players. Knocked out in the first week of the finals. Large exit of key players too. New signings. Tarek Sims comes across from the Dragons, but they do lose Kafusi, goes to the Dolphins. Brandon Smith to the Roosters. The Bromwich brothers go to the Dolphins. $7.50 to win the flag. Make the finals $1.22. Miss the finals $4.20. You're keen on a bit of a Storm slide, mate, aren't you?
Well, I'm not keen on it, Matty, because I do, mate. I admire what they've been able to do over the past 20 years.
I'm putting words in your mouth, kids. Craig Bellamy.
But mate, look, like both Kafusi and both Bromwich brothers and Brandon Smith, like they're 4 pretty influential players, and mate, they're all tough. They're all like aggressive to play against, So I think they're 4 big losses. Tarek Sims, pretty decent signer, still brings that aggressive style of footy, but he's getting on Tarek. So I think they will go backwards. I still think they'll be a chance of making the top 8. I mean, they've got Cameron Munster in the team. Anytime he's playing, then he has a big influence on the outcome. And also your man, Pappenhausen, mate.
Back to Papstar.
Mate, remember last year when he got injured a couple of times? I think he done his hemi and then he done his kneecap. And, mate, they struggled without him.
Yeah, 100%. So, I reckon the combination of Munster and Pappenhausen is as good as you'll get too. So if they can stay on the park together, I reckon they'll string wins together, Gids.
But, Matty, it's already been announced, mate. He's going to miss the start of the year. So, I just think they're going to struggle a little bit more than the previous years. So,
right,
mate, there's a little bet here, a little bit of odds around the top non-New South Wales team at $2. Something different, mate.
Is this a new market from Palmerbet Gids? Because I haven't seen this before.
You got it.
That's unreal,
mate. Amazing new market. The boys at Palmerbet have opened up for the punters.
Love it. So just top non-New South Wales team at $2. I reckon that's not a bad bet. Even money.
Yep, even money.
Right, let's move along to the New Zealand Warriors. Of course, finished the regular season last year, Gids, in 15th. Key storyline after 3 years of COVID, and they've been obviously playing in Australia for a lot of these games. They'll be looking forward to, I suppose, a normal season, Gids. They got some new signings. Dylan Walker comes across from the Sea Eagles. Nickel Clockstad from the Raiders. Tamir Martin from the Broncos. They do lose Ewan Aiken to the Dolphins and Reece Walsh to the Broncos. Premiership odds $51. Make the finals $5. Miss the finals $1.15. I think, to be honest, the Warriors will get a bit of improvement out of just a normal regular season, Gids.
Yeah, mate, they deserved a normal regular season. It's obviously been a real challenging one over the past 2 years for them. I know they actually got they got some games back in New Zealand this year, which was great for their fans and great for the players to be back sleeping in their own bed. So I think a bit of stability, mate, that will certainly be welcomed by the Warriors. Reece Walsh, it didn't really work out. He went from the Broncos to the Warriors. I don't think he played his best footy there and he's back at the Broncos. But Dylan Walker, he's always a handful. And Nickel Clockstad, as I say, he's he's a great signing for him. So where are they going to end up? Mate, it's a big question mark. Certainly, it was always a tough gig, mate, to go over to New Zealand and play the Warriors in Auckland. And I think after the past 2 seasons, mate, their fans will be certainly united and galvanised to be behind their team. So make the finals $5, miss the finals $1.15. I think yeah, I don't think it's worth throwing on the $1.15. I still think they're going to be out of the 8.
Yeah, righto, mate. Love it. Let's move along to your Newcastle Knights, Gids. Finished the regular season for a disappointing season. Key storyline, make or break season for Kalen Ponga. Will he's moved to 5'8", spark the Knights? You reckon it will, Gids? New signings, Adam Elliott from the Raiders, Jackson Hastings from the West Tigers. They do lose Milford to the Dolphins and Clemmer to the West Tigers. He's tough, Clemmer. Premiership odds, $61. Make the finals, $6. Miss the finals, $1.12. Gids to turn it on at every home game. That's $1.05. All thanks.
100%.
That's in the corporate boxes, mate. What's your thoughts? Come on, sell me on the Knights, Gids.
Well, mate, I've got another little additional signing just recently over the last couple of weeks. Lachlan Miller from the Cronulla Sharks, ex-Rugby Sevens player, Australian Rugby Sevens player. So super quick. Probably still needs some areas of his game to work on as far as his passing game, but brings some speed. And I think, mate, the more times Kalen Ponga's got his hands on the ball, the better the outcome. We need him ball playing, playing out the back of plays, taking the line on, and controlling things. Man, I actually think Jackson Hastings is a great signing. I know they were talking about Luke Brooks for over 18 months, and I actually think Jackson Hastings is a better signing than Luke Brooks for the Newcastle Knights and what the club needed. So I know he's been bossing the players around and taking control of their attack, and I think that's what the club and the team needs at this stage is someone to take control. But you know what, mate, we need our best players in the park, like all teams. And we missed a big chunk of Kalen last year. We missed a big chunk of Bradman Best last year. So we've had some injury dramas, which bit of bad luck, but also we need our best players in the park, mate, to be there in the end.
Hey, Gids, I'm seeing your favourite bet here is the Knights to make the top 8 at $6, mate. You fair dinkum here?
Well, mate, I do like those odds, Matty. They're a little bit juicy. So, I, yeah, mate, they're appealing. Yeah.
Love it.
Now, mate, I will get to my top 8 a bit later in the program. But look, mate, yeah, $6. That's worth having a crack at.
Well, there you go, Gids. Let's move along now to the North Queensland Cowboys. And, of course, what a season they had last year, finishing third. They lost the prelim final, of course. Can they back up their impressive 2022 season? New signings, James Tamu from the West Tigers comes across. Key losses, they lose Tommy Gilbert to the Dolphins. And Tabui Fidow goes to the Dolphins as well. Premiership odds at $10 to make the finals $1.40, to miss the finals $2.75. What a year the Cowboys had last year. It was absolutely magnificent, Gids.
Yeah, cracking year. Cowboys, Matty, as I say, certainly bought into the coach's game plan and direction, Todd Payton. So, yeah, as I say, they were playing some great footy throughout the year and even the semi-finals, mate. So, I think that's a minimum standard, mate, for what they'll expect of themselves this year. I've certainly got them right up there again in my top 4.
And as we said, too, they're hard to beat at home, Gids. You nearly pencil most of those home games in as wins, can't you? So if they can pinch the odd game down in New South Wales and on the road, it's going to go a long way, isn't it, to them finishing the season pretty high up?
For sure, mate. I thought Scott Drinkwater had one of his best years. I know that they probably weren't sure whether he was a fullback or a 5'8", and I think he played his best footy at fullback. I don't think he's the greatest defender when he's in the line, to be honest, but I thought his role at fullback, kick returns, those sweeping plays, because he is quick and his passing game is pretty handy as well. So I thought he was a big influence on the year. Valentine Holmes is always dangerous, just purely because he's such an athlete. He's a great goal kicker as well. So, mate, I've got him in my top. This wouldn't be a bad multi, actually, Matty. Cowboys in the top 4. Valentine Holmes, top point scorer.
There you go. What's he about? $4.20, I think.
He's $4.20, mate, as top point scorer. Which
top 4 would be about $3 or something.
Mate, make the finals there $1.40. Yeah, top 4. Yeah, so I think there's going to be some decent, juicy odds at that one, mate.
Love it, big fella. Let's move along to the Parramatta Eels, of course. Went down narrowly in that fantastic grand final last year. What a grand final it was, too, against the Penrith Panthers, mates. They finished fourth in the regular season. The key story is probably going to be here. How big's the impact the loss of Reed Marnie going to have on the Eels in 2023, mate? Of course, they pick up Hodgson from Canberra Raiders. Great signing. They do.
Yep.
They do lose Papalife. He goes to the West Tigers, and Marnie goes to the Bulldogs, mate. What's your thoughts? $15 for the flag, $1.72 to make the finals, to miss the finals at $2. So they're kind of teetering on the edge there, aren't they? So you just get the feeling that the Palmer Bet team reckon that they're going to slip a little bit here, Gids.
Yeah, and I think they will, mate. They got towed up in the grand final. That's what's unfolded, mate. There last year. So are they able to bounce back from that type of adversity? You know, because
you learn from a loss like that, though, Gids, don't you? Like you know, like that's all part and parcel of I suppose, you know, you come up against a good team that's probably been the best team all year in the Panthers. They had a really solid final series where they had some tough games. You know, I think they'll take a fair bit of last year.
Matty, as a player, you should definitely learn, but you should also not get caught up in listening to what's happening on the outside neither, because you know,
whack early, Gids. This is good.
Well, no, I mean the players will be trying not to listen to that. But when it comes to press conferences, mate, every journo is going to be there. You know, you had your chance last year. It's the first time in 30 years, I think it was, that you featured in the grand final. Are you going to be able to replicate it? You know, so there's already people doubting whether they can even perform in the top 4 or top 8 again. So
backing them in, mate. I'm backing them in to have another good year, I reckon.
Well, mate, you know what? The other little bit of doubt, mate, that's hanging over their head is Mitchell Moses. Is he going to re-sign or not sign? And the quicker they get that sorted out, I think will just put the club at ease. You know, I think he had one of his best years. Mitchell Moses there last year, but you know, anytime it's a very influential player in your club, but they haven't re-signed for, you're still not till 2024. Yeah. It's just the question that always comes up in the media that you know you'd like to get it put to bed. But mate, it's a cracking team that they've got available for round 1 at this stage. That they're the predicted team, and if they perform at the ability that those players have, and I mean Brad Arthur's still an amazing coach, so mate, I think they'll be up there. It's just whether they can compete to get in the grand final again, because it was a big effort for them to get it there last year.
I'm backing them in, mate. What's your bet here for the Eels, buddy? What are you thinking?
I can't get them in my top 4, Matty. Yeah, I know there's some odds. 370.
They'll play top 8. You got them in the.
Yeah, I've got them top 8. I've got them top 8, but it's not real flash odds at $1.72 to get them into the top 8. Yeah, that's as best as I can come up with, mate. Top 8, $1.72. I can't get them. I can't squeeze them into the top 4 for $3.75 at this stage. I've got my top 4 locked away.
Righto, mate. Absolutely love it. Penrith Panthers, of course, our premiers last year, looking for a three-peat here too, Gids. For the first time since 1983, which Parramatta Eels, they had the last three-peat ever in the NRL, mate. So there's a little bit of history line for you. New signings, Tyrone Peachy comes across from the Tigers. They do lose a couple, though. Kickout goes to the Bulldogs, and Coruscant goes to the West Tigers. $3.80 to win the flag. To make the finals, $1.08. To miss the finals, $7.50. Awesome outfit. They won it all last year, Gids. They got some good talent coming through. Certainly the side to beat.
Yep, one of the sides to beat, that's for sure, Matty. I mean, yeah, I applaud their effort over the last couple of years, but certainly, you know, as a club last year to win 4 grand finals across their grades. Appy Coruscant, mate, I reckon he's a massive loss. Yep. Massive loss. I spoke about his influence in the New South Wales team and that they should start him for game 2. His deception around dummy half and what he can do with the markers and bring his players on the ball. That's why I think the Tigers will have some big improvements. And one of the major ones will be around Appy Coruscant and what he can do for the Tigers. Yep. So I think they recognise that he's a big loss for Penrith. But I still think they've got the class and the calibre of players that will be certainly competing for the grand final on the grand final day. But mate, you know, one major injury could be could derail the year. So who knows what's going to unfold? But I still think with the way the club's set up at the moment, their pathways, that they're in for another big year. And last team to three-peat, 1983. Geez, it'd be a pretty amazing one if they can knock that off.
Yeah, that's what's that? 40 years. 40 years. Yeah. That is unbelievable. What's your bet here, mate? Minor premiership?
Minor premiership. I've actually got them down for minor premiership. I think I still think the Roosters are going to be their best challenger for the year, but I do think that Penrith can take out the minor premiership for $3.20.
Righto, mate. Love it. Let's move along to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Of course, finished the regular season 7th, lost in the prelim final, had a pretty good final series. Can the Rabbitohs get over the hump after back-to-back heartbreak seasons? New signings, none. Key losses, Mark Nichols goes to the Dolphins. Cody Nicarima goes to Dolphins as well. Premiership odds at $10. Make the finals $1.40. Miss the finals at $2.75. What's your take on the Rabbitohs this year, Gids?
Mate, I think they're comfortable. No signings is a good sign that they believe in the playing group that they've got at the moment. They don't have to work too much on the cohesion of new players or new halves or new hooker coming into the team. So the couple of losses, I don't think that's going to worry him too much. And mate, again, they've got a pretty classy team. Latrell Mitchell, Alex Johnson, Cody Walker, Lachlan Ilias, Damien Cook.
Latrell's the barometer, though, mate, isn't he?
Oh, he is for sure. And when he's in a great headspace and he's competitive, he's one of the most dangerous players in the comp. When there's some outside noise going on and he feels like he's being criticised or there's external head noise going on, then you're not really sure what you're going to get from Latrell. But I still think with the team that they've got there at the moment, I think Cam Murray is one of the best players in the competition. And what he can do with Damien Cook and his big forwards going through the middle, I think he's a great link and a great example of what all locks out there should be aspiring to be. So, man, I think they'll be right up there. Definitely top 8, potentially pushing for top 4. Top 4. What do they got for top 4? Oh, look, I've got them out of the top 4, to be honest. I've got them out of the top 4.
I sense a little bit of change your mind there at the last minute there, big fella. So I'm
really I'm just
late, to be honest.
I'm still working through my final numbers here, Matty, but I just think they'll just miss out on the top 4, but definitely top 8.
I love it. Right, mate. Let's move along to St. George Illawarra Dragons, of course. Topsy-turvy season for mine last year. Finished the regular season in 10th. Anthony Griffith, he's under the pump. Can the Dragons save the coach? New signing, Zane Musgrove from the West Tigers. Jacob Little, also from the West Tigers. Key losses, Tarek Sims goes to the Storm. Premiership odds, $46. Make the finals $4. Miss the finals $1.20. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course. What's your take on the Dragons, Gids, honestly?
Well, mate, so, mate, the coach is under pressure. The players know the coach is under pressure to start the year, and they've just come off a trial game where some bad behaviours happening. They've had too many drinks, and there's been allegedly an argument between two players outside the hotel. So what sort of example or message is that sending to your coach who's under pressure, number one? And what's that look like for the Dragons to start the year? They've got a bye, actually, first round, which is probably a good thing at the moment. But it's not, mate, it's not a great look, that's for sure. I've seen Aaron Woods' comments come out, and he said they had a couple of beers and it just escalated.
No, not ideal, is it? When you got so many people under the pump, the club's under siege. You'd be just.
It's a lack of leadership, mate. And not from the coach or the coaching staff. The players were allowed to have a beer, and you know what? I wasn't perfect having a beer, but mate, someone needs to take.
Mate, what is it? A steel lager?
Steel City lager. But mate, someone needs to take control there and
100%.
and clip the wings of the other players and say, pull our heads in. We've got the season to look forward to and our coach to support.
Lease wins at $5.50.
Mate, I think it's decent odds.
Yeah,
I know I've spoken about the Dolphins in their first year as There's 240, I think they were. Well, I reckon the Dragons won't be far behind them.
Righto, mate. Let's move along to the Sydney Roosters. Finished the regular season 6th, knocked out in the first week of the finals. They'll be disappointed, be burning in the belly. Can the Chooks have a deep finals run after a disappointing end to 2022? New signings. Brandon Smith comes across from the Storm. Losses. They lose Takeho to the Catalan Dragons.
Yahoo.
Love it, mate. I'll tell you what, lucky I looked at that. I'm thinking, geez, never going to get that out. And Sammy Verrills goes to the Tides as well. Premiership odds $5.50. Make the finals $1.17. Miss the finals $4.50. You're really keen. We heard it at the top of the show, mate. You like what the Roosters have done in the off season.
Yeah, I do. I think Brandon Smith's a massive signing for him. What he was doing at the Storm, mate, whether he was playing lock, middle, or jumping into hooker. No, he's a tough competitor, and he's a different build, Matty. You know, he's a different build to a lot of the players out there, where he's low centre of gravity, super strong and quick out of dummy half and powerful, and mate, tough. You know, he's a tough, resilient player. So I think he's a massive signing for the Roosters this year, and can help them take them to a premiership. So, mate, I think they're the best challenger for the Panthers this year. For the premiership odds, $5.50. But certainly to make the grand final, $3.25.
Good bet.
I'll be jumping at those two.
Yeah, keen as mustard, aren't you, mate? I can just sense it in your Gids. Hey, what about the West Tigers? This is the other one you're keen on to make the top 8. They finished the regular season 16th, of course. They lost their coach mid-year. Sheensy and Benji are back, and they recreate the magic of 2005. The new signings: Api Coruscant from the Panthers, Papali from the Eels, Nofaluma returns from loan, Charlie Staines from the Panthers, David Clever, the tough man from the Knights, comes across. They do lose James Tamau to the Cowboys. Peachy goes to the Panthers. Hastings goes to the Knights. $41 for the flag. Make the finals $3.50. It says $3.30 on my sheet, but it was $3.50 up the top, and that's what I'm running with, Gids.
Yep.
To
Run
miss
with that,
the
mate.
finals $1.30, mate. Some really good signings here. There's got to be a little bit of excitement, I reckon, at the Tigers, and I love it. I like the Tigers. I love their little documentary they put together, and I've kind of got a little soft spot for the West Tigers.
Yeah, well, mate, the timing of the documentary was a tough one for them, but certainly, mate, certainly with they had some good signs there last year when Jackson Hastings was playing in the halves. They had some consistency over sort of a month or so, and knocked off the Eels there at Combank Stadium. But I like Api Coruscant.
You're a big
Papa
rapper,
Lee,
aren't you?
Nofaluma, mate, is a great finisher. Charlie Staines is quick. He's another good finisher from the Panthers. And Clem, well, mate, he's a big, tough, old school front rower. So they're all great signings. And mate, if this is a smoky for the top 8, then it's the West Tigers. So to make the finals, $3.30, I think it's pretty good odds. I'm not sure if I can squeeze them into my top 8, but under Tim Sheens and Benji Marshall, I think the tide's going to turn with them, and I think the players believe in it, mate. That's the big part. The players need to believe.
Yeah, my oath, mate. I reckon you're right. $3.50 to make the finals. I reckon that is really a great futures bet that you can sit back and you can enjoy for the whole year. I reckon they're going to give you a run for your money, and the team at Palmer Bet will be squirming in their pants, I reckon.
Yeah, they will be. But probably the only doubts is around their halves. That's the question mark. Is Luke Brooks going to be able to steer this team to a semi-final?
Yep.
And again, is his 5'8" partner Adam Dewey? Is that combination going to get him to the semi-finals? Because it hasn't been able to get him there for Luke Brooks's full career at this stage. But I think that, as I say, I think the tide can turn for him.
Righto, Gids. That is every single team for the 2023 season. An in-depth look, all thanks to Palmerbet, of course. Now, I'm going to throw it at you here, big fella. I know you've been working feverishly in the off-season.
Roll at me, mate.
You have not slept, mate. You've been just writing notes. You can see behind you, mate. There's things pinned up all around on the board. Yeah, have a look at that, mate. You've even brought the notes this year. That is phenomenal. But, mate, I want your top 5 predictions for the NRL season, mate. And I'm talking from a betting perspective, Gids. Okay, so give us your top 5 predictions, and we're going to come back to these predictions, Gids, all season, mate. So you've got to get them right, big fella.
No, mate, I'm excited about it. Is there like a drum roll or like a number one comes up or?
It is, mate. we need a bit.
Okay,
there were
mate, number one.
Right,
here it comes. Number one prediction: Roosters to win the comp.
Roosters to win the comp. Right, you're keen as mustard. You dropped it early. Away we go.
I'm going to drop it early.
Right.
I admire what the Panthers have done. I think the Roosters can knock them off. Prediction number 2: Dolphins to run last.
Right, so least wins for the Dolphins, mate. Yep.
Least wins.
Right, and you're saying 4's a pass mark. So
mate, this one might cut you a little bit deeper, mate, and hasn't happened. I don't think it's happened for 15 years, 20 years, but Melbourne to be beaten in round 1 of the season.
Mate. Kids, they're going for number 21, big fella.
I know.
Parramatta Eels, round 1 next week.
Mate, grand finalist last year. Melbourne playing away. Melbourne have lost 4 of their best players.
Mate, the NRL they've tried to throw as hard a game as they possibly can to the Storm, I reckon, this year, because they're sick of this record.
Mate, Craig Bellamy was putting my comments up in the dressing rooms for round 1 with me saying this. But I think Melbourne are going to lose their first game in a long time for round 1 to start the year.
Right, I'm going to just remind you of this. I'm going to remind you of this all year if you get this one wrong. Number 4.
Prediction number 4. Broncos to miss the top 8.
Yep, fair call for mine.
Fair call?
Yeah, they're nowhere at the moment. They need to really dig deep, the Broncos, and they've had a really average off-season for mine. So, yep, that's a fair call, Gil.
Yep. And, mate, 5th and final prediction, the Blues to win Origin.
Oh, how did we know that?
They're back.
How did we know that was going to surface at some point in time?
They're back, mate.
Mate, the polar bear's watching this, mate. He just choked on his fruit
send this straight to the polar bear. I'm going to wrestle the polar bear and choke him out.
No, you don't, mate. If you seen him in the boxing ring, mate, you don't want to wrestle the big boy. You can't knock him down. Hey, mate, I love it, though. And that Origin, it's going to be a cracking series, isn't it? It's going to be an absolute beauty. It was a fantastic one last year. Billy Slater was the story for mine. Just magnificent what the Queensland boys set out. Right, so that is Gids' top 5 Palmer betting predictions for 2023, mate. Now, this is another drum roll, Gids. All right, this is another drum roll, mate. We want your top 8, big fella. What do you got for us? And I cannot believe, I must admit, I nearly choked on me little wheat bix myself, but you've got the Newcastle Knights in there if we're going off what you said earlier, mate. So
no. I said there's some good odds around if you want to have a crack at them creeping into the top 8. But, mate, here's my final 8.
Right, let's go. Top 8, mate. Let's go.
There's a few squiggles out here, but I'm going to start at 8th position, and the Raiders, mate, take that one.
Yep.
7th, Storm.
Oh, yep.
6th,
right. You're back
Eels.
Yep.
5th, South, the Bunnies.
Yep.
Coming in at 4th, the Cowboys.
Yep.
3rd, Sharks.
Yep. You love your Sharks.
2nd, the Roosters. This is just the top 8 at this stage.
Yep.
And then Premier or minor premiers, Panthers. But I still believe the Roosters can take the comp out with the team that they've fielded for this season.
Righto, mate. We are going to keep bringing that top 8 up right throughout the regular season, just so you know, mate. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well, just to see how the Kurt Gidley predictor, Palmer Bet predictor, has gone in 2023. The other one, probably teetering on the edge, would be the West Tigers in that kind of 8th, 9th position.
Well, mate, let me pencil in Raiders, West Tigers, and Knights in 8th or 9th. There could be
3, mate. You can't just because you got to go to City with your Knights, mates.
I'm stirring it up.
Hey, I love it. But seriously, we're going to bring this up, and your bets each week too. We're going to bring them back up from the week before, and just so you go, because last year, mate, to be honest, you snagged a couple of really decent bets for the Palmer Bet followers, mate. That delved in, and you're going to try and attempt each and every week to pick the 8 as well. which I think will be magnificent. So
Matty, we want more buy-in from the punters, mate, out there on social media or your comments, and
give it to him. Absolutely, give it to him.
Get some sledging in. Tell us about
even my pronunciations of some of the names.
Yeah. Let's sledge you about some of your pronunciations. But mate, certainly we want more buy-in from the punters. Comment, show us what bets you've put together, what multis you put together and had some success with, and mate, good luck with it all.
I'll tell you what we might even try and do is we might even try and the best kind of tweeter or a person that gets involved with us each week. We might even bring or incorporate their best multi of the weekend or something. We might even try and con the Palmer bet boys Gids into having $50 on it for them or something, and it'll give them something to watch for the weekend. So how's that sound,
mate? Love it. Let's get them engaged and feel part of the season, mate. Feel part of the Don't Argue.
Now listen, mate, I'm waiting for the new merch. They told me they got t-shirts and everything coming my way, big fella. So
mate, mine still fits. Yours doesn't fit after the off season.
No, mine fits all right. Don't worry. It's fitting fine, big fella. If anything, it might be a little bit baggy on me, I think. So I'll just do the traditional shirt today. Hey, mate, the key message, obviously gamble responsibly, but get involved with the crew at Palmer Bet. Download the app. Magnificent app. It's so easy to navigate around. They have lots of fun bets. I love it. I love that Melbourne Storm to be the leading team outside of New South Wales bet. So they're doing stuff like that all the time, kids, which is just fantastic. Yep. And I think they're going to delve into some different areas in the NRL season this year as well. So keep your eyes peeled on the Palmer Bet app and get involved today. And as we always say, gamble responsibly, kids. And I can't wait, mate. Next week, Thursday night footy's going to kick off. I'm pretty excited, big fella.
Mate, absolutely. Ready to go, Matty. Let's get the season underway, and mate, can't wait to knock over the Don't Argue, mate, with yourself and everyone throughout the year. Looking forward to it.
And I'm actually just looking forward to bringing up your predictions, the Palmer Bet predictor each and every week, mate, just so we can absolutely keep you on your toes.
You watch out how many I've got right there.
Hey, Gids, good stuff, mate. Looking forward to next week. Round 1 of the NRL. I hope you've enjoyed the season preview. All thanks to Palmer Bet.
Thanks.